Hello. In this session, we're going to be talking about aggregate functions. And at the end of this video, we would have learned how to use aggregate functions with the group by clause, and would also have learned how to use the having clause to filter out relations. So, what are aggregate functions really? Aggregate functions perform calculations on a set of rows and return a single row, just like a summary of those set of rows. So we'll be looking at about five types of aggregate functions. We're looking at the average function. This returns the average value, the set of rows. Counts, which returns the number of values. The max, which returns the maximum value in a set of rows. The minimum, which returns the minimum value, and sum, which returns the sum of values. If you're familiar with pivot tables in Microsoft Excel, this should come quite simple. So I'll be starting with basics, basic aggregate functions, just to introduce or something. We move from basic aggregate functions to where we use the by and the having. So let's start with basic aggregate. See the whole idea about aggregate functions. So I'm going to go into PSQL now, and I would like to. It's taking too long. It's already a long query. I would like to do a new query 2 just so I can start afresh. Yes, so this is fresh. So let's look at our order details table. Let's see everything in our order details table, and we know we do that by saying select star, escape star, from our order details. Order details. Let's just get an overview of what is in our table. So we have four fields: order details ID, order ID, order ID, and quantity. So, for example, I want to see counts of rows in my in my table, order details table. I can use the counts function here. So it's just simple. I just change, instead of saying select star, which is select everything, I just say select count of star. I could say select count of star. And remember, star is every row in my data. So if I say select count of star, what this is going to do is it's going to count every row and give me number of rows in my data set. So if I run this, so you can see it has given me the count of rows in my data set. And that's written as 48,620. So I can say I have 48,620 rows. Let's try a little bit of aliasing, like we talked about in the previous classes. Let's try a little bit of aliasing just to change this from count and say select count of star as, remember, star as number just to refresh our memory on aliasing. I do this. See, my title has changed to number of rows. That's 48,620. So that's it on how aggregate function works. Let's try out the other aggregate functions as well. So select. I want to write the statement that selects everything, so I can always check table. Okay, let's see what's in the table. Let's try out other aggregate functions. So, say for example, I want to, let's try out the average function. So let's try out the average function. I could say select from order details. other details. Average, so it's AVG, right? That's how we do the aggregation for average, AVG. Average of quantity. I want to see the average quantity for all the rows. So I can just say average of the quantity. So here, quantity from order details table. And if I run this, it's going to do the average. So the average quantity is 1 point, it's this number 1.0. So what average means really from mathematics is sum of everything divided by the count of everything. That's what average means. Okay, let's see the sum. So let's say I want to see the total quantity but in my data set. Total quantity. I could also change this to sum. So let's write it again. Okay, at this point I could say you don't have to do one aggregation per query. So I could have lots of aggregations in my query. So let's say average quantity as, let's do a little bit of aliasing as average quantity, comma. Next line I say sum of quantity. Let's call this total quantity. Let's also do the maximum. So let's find the max. Like I said, we're doing min and max. So max function for that is max. I want to see the maximum quantity that was bought. Quantity as maximum quantity. And then let's also do main. So you can see in just one query, I have all these aggregations here. So I could you're not limited to one aggregation per query. So I could say main of quantity as minimum quantity. So let's try all that. So we did aggregation and we also did a little bit of alias in here, so we can change the name in the output. So let's run this, and you can see I have all my results. So I have that my average quantity is 1.019. My total quantity is 49574. Maximum quantity was 4. That's the highest quantity that was bought, or the highest quantity in one particular ring. And the lowest quantity was 1. So this is aggregation. Now let's combine some of the things we learned in the last class. Let's check what's in the table again. So what if I want to see for a particular product? So I could say, so we have lots of pizza IDs, right? I want to see for a particular pizza ID. So I want to see for where, so I could just add a where clause to this. So where pizza ID is equal to, so let's pick one of these pizza ID. I'm going to go with the Thai CKNL. So your pizza ID equals to Thai CKN score L. If I run this, so it's giving me the value for just for where pizza ID is this. So it's going to sum up everything for where pizza ID is equal to this. So wherever pizza ID is not this, it ignores it and just looks at those rows that have pizza ID equal to Thai CKNL and gives me the average quantity, total quantity. So I know that the total quantity of this particular pizza that was bought was 1,410. The maximum quantity was 3, minimum quantity was 1. So that is how we do the simple aggregation in SQL. Now, let's go a little bit advanced and let's introduce a clause called a group by clause. So what does the group by clause do for us? Now, in this last query, I had to select where pizza ID is equal to this. Now, but what if I want to see for all the pizza IDs in this particular query? I will just change the query and say, so let's change the query and we can say select from from order details, right? Order details. I want to select average AVR rather AVR quantity, same query. So AVR quantity as average quantity. AVG rather. Pardon me. AVG rather. Quantity as average quantity. Sum of quantity as total quantity. Max of quantity as maximum quantity. See quantity. Then in of quantity as minimum quantity. Now, if I left the query like this, it's going to give me for the whole table. So it's going to find the average quantity for the whole table in one line, sum of quantity for the whole table in one line. But now I want to see it per pizza ID. So for each pizza ID, give me all these aggregations. So all I have to do is use the group by. So I'm asking you to group it by pizza ID. So if I say group by, I want you to group by pizza ID. If I run this now, so okay, because I want to see the pizza ID in the result. So for each pizza ID, for pizza ID Thai, show me this. So I'm going to put my pizza ID as well in the query. So pizza ID. Then I say group by pizza ID. So I want to see pizza ID. I want to see the average quantity. I want to see the sum of quantity. I want to see the max, the mean of the quantity. So if I do this and I run it, so you can see what we have here. We have for each pizza ID that's calculated the average quantity, the total quantity, the maximum quantity, and the minimum quantity. You can see we have our values here for each pizza ID. So I didn't have to specify where pizza ID is this. I just showed it for each pizza ID. So I'm seeing my pizza ID, I'm seeing the average for each pizza ID, sum, max, and the mean for each pizza ID. So we could also insert the order by. The order by. We could also insert the order by function here. We could also insert the order by function here after grouping, just to order. Remember, the order by is used to sort our query results in a particular manner. So we could also insert the order by. An order by function always comes after the group by. So it has to follow that order. Select from group by, then order by, in case you are doing the order by in the same query. So let's say order by, I would like to order by pizza ID, send it so the ID in ascending order. So we have a vertical ascending order. Let's run this. So you can see the query is ordered. The Peter ID is beginning with B. It's coming first. Then we go from B to C, F, I up to V. So it's ordered now. So another thing I would like to talk about is the having clause. The having clause is similar to the where clause, only we use it to filter aggregations. So let's say, for example, I have my aggregation already, and let's say I want to filter out only where the total quantity is above 200. So we have total quantity. You can see my results: 67, 400, 14, 481. But I'm just interested in ones that have total quantity of more than 200. Now I can't say where because we've aggregated it already, so I can't say where total quantity is more than 200. But I could use the having clause. So the having clause always comes before the order by. So in that sequence, it has to be select from, put by, having, and the order by. I call it SFGHO. So select from, by, having, and then the order by. So let's do our having. So I'm interested in where total quantity is greater than 200. So just to filter out this but let's say greater than 200. So I say having how did I get total quantity? Sum of quantity. So I say having sum of quantity, that's total quantity, greater than 200, then order by I. So if I run this now, I run this, you can see it has filtered the table. We had 91 results earlier, now it's reduced to 83. So you can see there's nothing less than 200 anymore. So let's flip it. Let's say we just want to see the ones less than 200. So let's flip it. Instead of greater than, let's do less than 200. Let's run that. So we run that and we have just eight results where we have uh, our total quantity less than 200. So that's how you filter an aggregation in Postgres. Then let's go back to our slides. So we've gone through average, we know how to do counts, we've talked about max, we've talked about min, talked about sum. Now in the next video, we are going to be dealing with something a bit more advanced than what we're going to be dealing with something called subqueries. So let's prepare our mind, let's stay tuned. It's going to be fun. See you in the next video.